But here's the twist: Smith isn't hiding from anyone. His response is a resounding, Donnie. You're not protected by that fancy blanket of immunity when you're trying to rig the 2020 election, and what a trove of evidence Smith presented. He showcased Trump's relentless promotion of baseless voter fraud allegations even after his electoral defeat. It's like watching a bear rummage through a campsite, insisting he was just looking for picnic baskets, as Colbert put it. Let's be honest, Trump's attempts at justifying his actions make Yogi Bear's excuses look like Pulitzer Prize winners. But hold on, things are about to get even juicier. The identities of several co-conspirators have been conveniently obscured in the petition. Colbert quipped that their names might rhyme with Shankar, and oh, how true that is. Who would have thought that pin the blame on the scapegoat would be a staple of Trump family game night? It's like they've turned failure into a family bonding experience. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The core message of Trump's pre-election campaign was, "I'm going to win, and if I don't, I'll just say I did anyway." It appears he adopted a toddler's strategy for dealing with defeat, reminiscent of a child flipping the board during Candyland because they didn't like the outcome. Colbert astutely pointed out that this man can't handle losing anything. So, is it time to start handing out participation trophies for failed coup attempts? Congratulations, Donald, you showed up, and that's what counts. And let's not forget Trump's less-than-ideal staff, who were crucial players in his magic show of misdirection. How did a group of supposedly elite attorneys manage to turn illegal defenses into a circus sideshow? It's like watching a high-stakes magic act where the only trick is making the truth disappear. So join us for this evening of laughter as we turn the absurdity of it all into a much-needed therapy session. Let's raise our glasses to the comedy that comes from chaos and the humor that helps us cope with the wild world we live in. Prepare yourself, folks, for an exhilarating journey into the chaotic world of misfit lawyers, where common sense is perpetually absent and competence goes to die. First up on our list is Rudy Giuliani, the man who can't even send a proper text message. You'd think a former mayor of New York City would have a handle on technology, right? Well, Rudy managed to text the wrong number while trying to reach out to a Michigan lawmaker about contesting the election. It's like watching your grandfather fumble around, attempting to place a Tinder order for pizza, confusing and a little painful to witness. Then there's conspiracy theory queen Sidney Powell. She probably thought her coffee maker was eavesdropping on her because she was utterly convinced that Dominion voting machines were part of some vast conspiracy. Trump himself had to intervene, telling her to, "Whoa, slow down there, crazy pants." I mean, when you've got the former president putting the brakes on your wild theories, you know it's gotten out of hand. And we can't forget the rest of this eclectic crew. Trump's legal team, dubbed the Star Wars bar by one of his advisors. This comparison is quite the disservice to the delightful patrons of Mos Eisley. At least those aliens could hold their drinks. These lawyers couldn't engage in a civil debate if their lives depended on it. Imagine them at a cocktail party, no one would leave without a drink thrown in their face. But the cherry on top of this calamity sundae is Trump's annoyance with Mike Pence. Reportedly, Trump told Pence, "You're too honest, can you even imagine that?" It's like a cartoon villain getting furious at his sidekick for not being evil enough. It's no wonder Trump's legal strategy crumbled like a sandcastle during a hurricane. With a team like this, he might as well consult a magic 8-ball for legal advice. Can I prevail in this case? Prognosis not promising. Reply hazy, try again later. Honestly, if Trump thought his attorneys were incompetent at maintaining confidentiality, he might have been onto something. With these characters running the show, it's a miracle anything stayed secret for longer than a minute. So sit back and enjoy this roller coaster ride through the absurdities of Trump's legal escapades, where logic takes a backseat and the bizarre reigns supreme. Just wait until you hear about Trump's January 6th outing as a non-present leader. What a disco-inspired hint he left behind. It turns out that our favorite grumpy orange menace isn't just terrible at choosing attorneys, he's also got a knack for picking the most inappropriate entrance music. A delightful detail from Jack Smith's latest filing has pointed out just how much Trump has given us headaches, kind of like a MAGA hat that's 2 sizes too small. Remember the January 6th rally? Trump boldly claimed he was speaking in his capacity as president. Well, Smith has some bad news for you. His entrance music was as dignified as a clown car rolling up to a state dinner. Instead of the majestic hail to the chief, Trump strutted in to the delightful disco rhythms of YMCA. Yes, you heard that right, nothing screams leader of the free world quite like an anthem from the Village People. Being the comedic genius he is, Colbert couldn't resist poking fun at this disco disaster. He quipped that Trump's selection of EMCA suggested he had been there as a young man. After all, nothing says youthful vigor like a 74-year-old man sporting a comb-over and shaking his hips to disco. But hold on, it gets even better. Colbert took full advantage of this musical blunder, implying that future presidents could do anything they wanted as long as Hail to the Chief wasn't playing. Can you even imagine that? I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't possibly rob that bank. I was obviously not acting as president at that moment because I was dancing to staying alive. Smith makes a straightforward case when Trump incited the crowd on January 6th. He was operating as a candidate, not as the sitting president. Can you really blame him? Honestly, looking presidential while leading an insurrection and grooving to disco is no easy feat. It's like trying to win a dance-off while running a country. Good luck succeeding at both. The truly shocking part. Trump's attorneys are attempting to argue that everything he did was required of him in his capacity as president. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, EMCA has replaced the national anthem. Colbert nailed it when he suggested that Trump's official capacity was simply to embarrass himself on a grand scale. Let's be real here, on that fateful day, Trump was in charge of nothing more than the dumpster fire he started. Now, let's take a moment to be honest. Wouldn't you want to appear presidential if you were the President of the United States about to address a crowd about the outcome of an election? Not our Donnie, though. He opted to turn the whole event into a perverted rendition of Dancing with the Stars Insurrection Edition. And remember, this is the same guy who tried to pass off the term tweet cuff as some sort of secret code. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised that disco dancing and rabble-rousing are part of his vision of presidential behavior. It feels like he's living in a reality show where the soundtrack is perpetually stuck in the 1970s and the rules have gone out the window. Imagine a society where our only hope for averting political anarchy rests on the shoulders of late-night humor hosts. So buckle up, everyone. Stephen Colbert has just emerged as our improbable champion in the ongoing saga of Trump's legal maneuvers. It's quite the adventure, I assure you. In relation to this ridiculous saga, Jack Smith has recently delivered his most potent blow yet. Do you recall when Trump proclaimed he had a miraculous barrier of immunity? Well, that bubble was quickly burst by Smith's latest filing. It appears our beloved power-trippy Trump is about to face a harsh awakening with his latest 165-page brief. Special Counsel Jack Smith, who's been giving Donald more headaches than a MAGA hat 2 sizes too small, has managed to make Trump angrier than a tea kettle on steroids. Here's the situation. Trump thought he could hide behind presidential immunity like a child covering their eyes and believing that if they can't see you, you can't see them. But Smith isn't playing hide and seek. His message is loud and clear. Donnie, you are not protected by that elegant blanket of immunity while trying to rig the 2020 election. And what a collection of evidence Smith brought to the table. He presented proof that Trump continued to promote ludicrous allegations of voter fraud long after his electoral defeat. It's like watching a bear break into a campsite, insisting he was just searching for picnic baskets. As Colbert aptly pointed out, claiming that resorting to crime shouldn't be confused with crime resort is a stretch. Come on, Trump Yogi Bear had better justifications for his antics. But wait, it gets even juicier. The identities of several co-conspirators have been conveniently obscured in the petition. Colbert couldn't resist the joke, suggesting their names might rhyme with Shanka and Schmeared. Who would have thought that pin the blame on the scapegoat would become a staple of Trump family game night? The worst part of all this? The underlying mantra of Trump's pre-election campaign was, "I'm going to win, and if I don't, I'll just say I did anyway." It seems he adopted a toddler's strategy for handling defeat: just flip the board at Candyland and throw a tantrum. Colbert correctly observed that this man cannot handle losing anything. Is it time to start handing out participation trophies for failed coup attempts? Let's not forget Trump's less-than-ideal staff, an absolutely necessary component of his magic show. How did a group of so-called elite lawyers manage to turn legal defenses into a circus act? With this team, it's a wonder Trump managed to conjure up anything more than a poorly executed illusion. So grab your popcorn, folks, because this is one wild ride through the absurdities of Trump's legal escapades, where logic goes to die and hilarity reigns supreme. How did a group of purportedly elite attorneys manage to reduce legal defense to a sideshow in a circus? Buckle up, folks, for an exciting journey into the chaotic realm of misfit lawyers, where common sense is perpetually absent and competence goes to die. Not to mention the rest of this eclectic crew. They've been dubbed the Star Wars Bar by one of Trump's advisors, a serious disservice to the wonderful patrons of Mos Eisley. At least those aliens could hold their drinks. These people couldn't engage in a civil debate if their lives depended on it. But the icing on this calamity Sunday? Trump's annoyance with Mike Pence. Reportedly, Trump told Pence, "You're too honest. Can you even imagine that?" It's like a cartoon villain getting furious at his sidekick for not being evil enough. It's no wonder Trump's legal strategy crumbled like a sandcastle during a hurricane.